Hi guys, this is jason1.com and I'm here with a handset called the Ulefone Power. It's a massive battery phone and I'm here to review it for you. So we're dealing with a handset that has a battery good enough for a tablet theoretically. It has a capacity of 6050 mAh and it's probably the biggest battery I've ever seen on a phone. This device is priced at $149 on tomtop.com, and once again the battery is theoretically good enough for a tablet. It's an upper mid-range phone as far as specs go, and it's pretty rich in accessories. As you saw in the unboxing, it has an USB OTG cable, it has a special case and a screen protector. Now it's time to discuss and address the design. Once again, a massive and huge phone. It has a polycarbonate shiny back, it's glossy and it has a crisscross pattern. The buttons on the side have very good feedback, and aside from the volume power, there's an extra button that triggers the camera. We have a beautiful 2.5D glass panel up front and a strong and big metal frame that's pretty shiny when it catches the light. The thickness here is 9.5 millimeters and the weight is 190 grams, which may sound massive until you compare it to the Asus Zenfone Max. That one measures 10.6 millimeters in thickness and weighs 202 grams, so it's both heavier and thicker than this model with a smaller battery. The Ulefone Power is more compact but with a bigger battery capacity. It feels solidly built and it comes in blue, it comes in white or a wooden version with a very nice back texture. Other than that, well, there's a non-removable back panel here as far as I know, and you need a metal key to access the slots, and the edges of the back also feel a little bit curved. Once again, an extra button for the camera, and the conclusion is that this is a comfy phone. Even one-hand usage is possible, as you can see, so that's nice for a big battery phone. Now, as far as the display goes, it's a 5.5 incher with a Full HD resolution and an IPS LCD panel. It uses LTPS technology and Gorilla Glass 3 protection. And as far as video playback goes, we go to the Videos app, and here you can see all the vids, and this is our usual test clip. So let's analyze the experience. So first things first, we got a pretty bright screen here. So let's leave it be for a while and watch it again. Once again, a pretty crisp and bright screen with some black edges around the image. The colors are pretty realistic. We have wide viewing angles. And the contrast was pretty okay in full sunlight. Pixels are of the RGB stripes variety, as you can see here. So let's go to this section. And the pixels are once again RGB stripes, where the lux meter we used to measure the power of the screen showed us 402 lux units, which is good. It's basically around the same value as the Sony Xperia Z3, that one has 401 lux, and it beats the Sony Xperia Z5 Premium, but scores below the Amazon Fire Phone, for example. Now let's see the special settings dedicated to the display. So we're dealing with here brightness level, adaptive brightness, wallpaper, sleep, LED, which relates to charging, battery low or event miss. It shines up here at the top, font size, and that's pretty much it. Overall, a good screen, not much to object here, maybe aside from the black edges around the image. Now as far as the hardware goes, we got CPU-Z for you here. Inside the handset you can find an octa-core chip, the MediaTek MT6753, clocked at 1.3 GHz with a Mali T720 GPU and 3 GB of LPDDR3 RAM, as well as 16 GB of storage and a microSD card slot. The phone does not suffer from lag. It has a pretty clean marshmallow installation, fluid UI and okay performance. We opened up a bunch of apps in the background, quite a few of them, and we didn't encounter any problem with that. The games run pretty okay. We've played 2 of them on the device without incidents, and our usual benchmark game is Riptide GP2. You should rejoice because there's a new game coming in the Riptide series, should arrive in August, so we're happy about that. It's a benchmark game, we use it on all devices. You can tweak its settings. As you can see, nice lighting, the water looks natural, controls are responsive, there's no frame drop, so gaming works fine. Good frame rate, good textures and nice lighting, so gaming is a-okay. Now as far as the benchmark go, we also have those. And just in case you were wondering, let's see how we did in a few of the tests. For example, in quadrant, well, I noticed that in this test, for example, we managed to beat the Huawei P8, and in Antutu we managed to beat devices like the Samsung Galaxy A 2016 models, Galaxy A3, Galaxy A7 2016, which is not bad. While in 3D Mark we surpassed the likes of the Yumi Touch, one of the main rivals of this phone. In Geekbench 3, in the multi-core test, we even got past the iPhone 6, which is no small feat. Now the temperature, well, that posed some problems. When you ran GFX Bench, the temperature was okay, 36.9 degrees Celsius, but after playing 15 minutes of the game Riptide GP2, the one from earlier, we achieved overheating with 45.3 degrees Celsius, and you can really feel that here in the fingerprint scanner. You can basically not touch it at all because it feels like it's burning your hand. That's how hot it gets. Anyway, we proceed further. Inside the phone is a battery, a big battery, 6050 mAh, made by Sony, lithium polymer, on paper 75 days of standby and 4 days of normal use, and a special charger with 5 volt, 7 volt or 9 volt at 2 amperes or 12 volts at 1.5 amperes. A 5 minutes charge will result in 2 hours of calling, and a 30-minute charge will juice up the phone for 1 day of usage. You can also charge up other devices. I've connected the USB OTG cable to this model and another phone, and it charged it. Now let's see how it did in our tests. First up, video playback should be here somewhere. Of course, it's impressive. 15 hours and 18 minutes, it's 5th place all time. It's below the AllView P8 Energy and the Asus Zenfone Max. Of course, there are other superior models, but 5th place isn't bad at all. It also beats the Galaxy S7 Edge by 3 minutes, so 15 hours and 70 minutes, quite good. The PC Mark result is also good, 11 hours and 2 minutes, it's 6th place all time. It's an excellent phone, however, it's below the Xiaomi Redmi Note 3 Pro, so it could have done a little bit better. The difference is only 3 minutes, so it's not that serious. Time to discuss the charging. This battery phone will juice up in 2 hours and 4 minutes, which is excellent considering its huge capacity. And of course, you also have special settings for the battery, but don't expect anything special. Standby intelligent power saving, battery saver, and battery optimization, which is basically those from Marshmallow. Okay, so that's that, a great battery phone with a great battery, and now it's time to discuss the acoustics. We got a speaker here at the back, seems pretty big, and what I noticed is that the local music player cannot seem to find my music. If I look for it, I'll be able to find it. However, once I try to find it regularly, well, there's no trace of that. Anyway, let's listen to a tune or 2 or 3. Okay, as you saw, we show you the equalizer, and apparently it even turns down the volume a bit. Now we're dealing with a serious case of muffling here. Check this out. It's actually one of the biggest difference I've ever heard between the front and the back of the phone. Anyway, we got an okay bass, loud and clear sound, good high notes, and once again, big muffling. Let's see just how big, because we have a decibel meter test and we're not afraid to use it. So we scored at the back, very impressive, 88.5 decibels, which is quite good. And at the front, a shocker, 66.4 decibels, which is quite the difference. It's about, let's say, 20 decibels or so, and that's huge. Still, the big result is the one that matters, and it's quite big. It beats the LG G5 and Huawei P9 Plus, which is quite nice. Now we also have settings for the acoustics. They're here: sound enhancement, BS audio enhance, loudness, and BS surround for movie and music. Now the headphones are let down. The advantage is that they have a flat wire, so they don't tangle. They have a big remote, sadly with a singular button, and they're comfy in the ear. However, They sound very muffled, they're not very loud, and the noise isolation is so-so. There's also FM radio, in case you're wondering, you have it here, and it manages to find stations pretty fast. So overall, a mixed bag when it comes to acoustics, because the headphones were underwhelming. Time to discuss the camera. So at the back, 13 megapixel shooter with Sony IMX214 sensor and dual LED flash. Good looking camera, however only good looking, not exactly very impressive, you'll see that in a minute. f1.8 aperture, apparently, sounds very nice. That's at the back, so 13 megapixel at the back and 5 megapixel at the front, an OmniVision sensor. Now let's see just how fast the camera gets activated. Quite fast, I would have to say. And the camera interface is, I would call stock, nothing fancy, no special options. And the actual experience, well, let's see what we're dealing with here. Fast start, pretty fast focus, to be honest. So quite fast focus, an okay level of zooming, and let's say slow picture taking. As you can see, it takes a bit more than you want to get the shot done. Okay, so we also have the options picture in picture. Takes shots with both cameras, back and front. We have panorama. That was a bit of lag. And then the core options, we got HDR at the top, we have flash options, and we got GPS location, exposure, color effect, scene, white balance. There's anti-shake, smile shot, resolution and ISO, and you can film up to full HD and even stabilize the image, of course, electronically. Okay, enough about the user interface, time to go to the gallery and see the shots we've taken using this very same camera. So let's start off with the first shots taken during the day. I have to mention that at first sight they seem like nice shots, however, when you really start looking through the gallery, you'll feel that most of them have an artificial feel to them, sort of unnatural looking, over sharpened and over processed. Okay, other than that, there is sort of like a layer on top of the pictures, although when we started to zoom in, you'll see that the level of detail isn't exactly bad. It was a very sunny day, so that may excuse some of the burnt shots. We got an okay close-up or two, and pretty good flower texture, although there were also some blurred shots, and the HDR made the images a bit more burnt than they were already. As you can see here, a regular shot and HDR shot burning it even more. I was disappointed by the selfies. I felt it could have been much better. It's blurry, it's not very clear, it's ghost-like, and I do not like that at all. So the landscape shots don't have impressive details. As you can see, the trees are basically an amorphous mass. We cannot see the leaves, so that's underwhelming. The panorama was also pretty modest, with a resolution of 60:72 over 848 pixels, but at least it had a good clarity. Some close-up shots here, picture-in-picture mode, and the promised panorama. As I said before, okay clarity, but it could have been better when it comes to the resolution. Once again, landscape shot with serious detail loss. Another attempt at a selfie, and this is a shot with pretty good colors. Every once in a while, a shot with good clarity and colors came along, but it does not excuse the huge amount of over-sharpened and over-processed images we got in the end. I feel that it's below the Yumi Touch and the Vernitor. If you want a comparison, basically it does not impress us one bit, except from the exception that came up every once in a while, as I said before. That's during the day. Now during the night, let's see what happened, because we also took low light pictures, as we always do. So these ones feature big light halos. They're blurry and foggy. The flash kind of makes things bad. As you can see, no flash here, basically a bit washed out and whitish, not very impressive. This hydrant shot was reasonable, let's say, so the flash played a good part here, but other than that, unimpressive pictures. The only good thing here is the texture of the buildings. As you can see, not bad. It doesn't mess up that, but the ghosting effect is pretty serious and the clarity has to suffer, so expectations were not big from a $140 phone, but still could have been a bit better, because we've seen phones performing even in this price range. Anyway, some of the pictures are good and some are very bad. That's the strange aspect about the camera, but the good ones are the ones that matter in the end. Now the videos were shot in 3GPP format, 18 megapixel bitrate and 30 frames per second frame rate. Of course, they're full HD clips we're talking about. and let's try and find them. Okay, so we got videos like this one here. There is a bluish hue here in this area. Clarity was rather good. The images were very shaky and burnt. The microphone was shockingly good. And when we zoomed in, there was serious quality loss. In some of the shots, we noticed sudden exposure changed and some problems with the wind. Also, there is a slight bit of blur in the upper trees area. So, as I said before, shaky and burnt, at least not many problems with focus loss. We don't have that problem, so that's the good aspect. We can totally neglect the low light video capture because it drops the frame rate and the bit rate to 16 frames per second and 5 mega per second, so you can basically ignore it because it has ghosting, it moves in frames and it's unimpressive, but the microphone remains very good. Okay, so once again the camera is below expectations even for $140, and I feel it's below the Yumi Touch and the Vernitor, for example. Now the pre-installed browser is this one, and let's go to gsndom.com. Let's try that again. Here we go. As you can see, quite a slow browser, which is confirmed by the poor benchmarks of the same browser. And at least the keyboard on board is pretty comfy. Now on the connectivity front, let's see what we got here. So this is a dual SIM dual standby phone, and both SIM slots are the micro SIM type. They both have 4G, but you can only use 4G LTE on one at a time. We also have Bluetooth 4.0 support here and hot note, as well as an infrared emitter here at the top. There's also a GPS, there is GLONASS, and there is Miracast, micro USB, USB OTG, and only FDD LTE in case you are wondering, and of course Wi-Fi 802.11 BGN. Now as far as the calls are concerned, they're loud and clear, the microphone is good, and signal was also nice. We did a speed test and let's see what came out of that. Okay, so speed test, here we are. We achieved 77.10 mega per second in download and 36 in upload. This is 4G connectivity, so it's pretty reasonable. And if you want to control a TV set or a Blu-ray player, you can use the infrared emitter and a special app that has been lost while updating the phone to its various software versions, but can be regained by reinstalling it. Speaking of software, right now we're running on Android 6.0 Marshmallow, basically a stock version, and we have received a ton of apps since we started testing the phone, which means that Ulefone really takes care of the software on its devices. Okay, so multitasking involves a carousel in typical fashion, so nothing fancy here, while the drop down section, notifications and quick settings. If you keep the home screen pressed, let's try it again. Or maybe let's pinch it, let's press it here where it's free. Finally, wallpapers, widgets and settings. Widgets are all stock, so Ulefone didn't feel the need to modify the stock Marshmallow experience. Now the settings include options for connectivity, display, sound, battery and gesture unlock. We got double click to wake, you can draw various letters to open up the screen, and let's see what else. Of course there's fingerprint scanner at the back here. And let's see its dedicated settings, so security, screen lock, and let's go here first, fingerprint, continue, screen lock, pin. Okay, next, and now the setup is starting. I have to warn you, it's quite a long process, about 15 steps or so. And each time you'll be cancelling your pin, you'll also be cancelling your fingerprints, so keep that in mind next time. Okay, we're all done. Unlike other phones, other modern phones, we don't have special gestures for the print scanner. You cannot take photos or do some scrolling. You can only unlock the screen like I'm doing right now. Or trying to. As you can see, it took 3 attempts to do it. Let's try from one angle now. It worked fine, and 180 degrees. Nope. It vibrates, letting me know my finger is there but not detected, so bit of a hit and miss affair. I've seen more accurate prints being recognized in the past. And let's see what other options we have. we got something called Smart Somato Sensory. Basically you can flip pictures by moving the hand in front of the camera, sensors and the screen. That's gallery, music player, unlock, so basically gestures in front of the screen. That's the feature. Now as far as the pre-installed apps go, this is a pleasant surprise. Only 26 apps, so no bloatware here, only the strictly necessary features: calculator, calendar, camera, contacts, downloads, file manager, FM radio, gallery, maps and Play Store among them. Nothing extra, nothing fancy, so that's very nice. Okay guys, so now it's time for the verdict. This is the Ulefone Power and I'm going to start off with the pros and cons. On the pro side, the low price obviously, and there is no bloatware on board. We got many updates, which means that the device maker is taking care of the software pretty well. Of course, a great battery, it's a battery phone in the end, and in spite of having a huge battery, it also offers fast charging, a solid design, a pretty okay display, good performance overall and good acoustics as well as nice connectivity. These are the pros. Now on the cons side, there's the overheating, which is quite bad, huge muffling on a flat surface, headphones were underwhelming and the camera felt rather weak even for the price, and in the end it's a massive phone which may not be for everyone. So the Ulefone Power is a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde. What's good is very good and what's bad is pretty bad. I'm talking here about the camera, for example, and the overheating. Other than that, you can find everything quite good. If you want a battery phone that can handle long hours of media playback, this is the phone for you. Also good volume for the speakers, and there is that. You will consume media on this phone. That remains its core purpose, and you can basically forget about the selfies and the camera for a bit. Use this basically as your media player with phone connectivity, which by the way is not bad. So in the end it remains a solid battery phone, the Ulefone Power, tested at gsmo.com, and you can find it on tomtop.com, priced at $149 right now. This is it from us, bye bye.